She's saying nothing. She's saying absolutely nothing. She's not committing to anything. It's literally just like, I hypocritically believe in some liberal values domestically, but I also believe in a perma-war genocidal ethno-state that slaughters Arabs abroad. I would also be willing to sacrifice literally all of my freedoms as an American if it meant protecting the ethno-state that I support. That's it. There's nothing. There's nothing here. It's all totally vacuous. There's a reason why these giga-Zionists stick to their own social circles these days. I've seen so many people dunk on this.
I cannot.
I haven't seen it myself.
Choose between being a liberal and being a Zionist. Every term and all of the nomenclature that many of us used to use, especially if we are, liberals or Democrats, right?
Right. Why always with the fucking music, man?
None of that seems relevant anymore. This spectrum on both ends has been pulled so far that it's just a circle.
Totally.
It's like a messed up circle. So I don't identify, with many politics of the far left. I mean,
sure.
And I don't identify with many of the things that the Democratic Party has chosen to prioritize, not just for the Israel reason or the Jewish reason. I think many of us feel very confused about our identity as Democrats because I think the Democratic Party has really let a lot of us down. And saying that earned me accusations of being a Republican in my own home.
It's so cool how all of this could have been eliminated if Biden just hadn't kowtowed to Israel after October 7th. The only reason people like this exist is because they were allowed to exist. The Democratic Party made it clear that they would be allowed to be, you can be pro-genocide and a Democrat. In fact, that's like the mainstream position, If it had immediately been tamped down on, then all these people would have been shamed into silence.
Right? That's how polarized it got.
Right.
That if you questioned what's going on in the Democratic Party, all of a sudden there's only one solution. That means you're a Republican. No, I got a lot of other choices in between, The principles of liberalism hold true no matter what. I believe in upholding the fallen and healing the sick. I'm okay with also living in a country where some people believe in the welfare system and some people don't. Like, I was raised to understand that people have differences of opinion. We don't go shooting each other in the street about it, right? So none of that has changed.
What's she complaining about? It's a formless grievance from a person who's mad that they get dunked on by their kids for being a fascist.
Changed for me. I believe in many of the policies surrounding legalization of drugs, of prostitution. I'm a liberal. However, this notion that support for Israel is in conflict with the Democratic Party is fallacious, and it's sinful. And in addition, whatever's happening on those far fringes of the right is also not appreciated. We have to get out of that binary, right? Absolutely. And this country is young, and whatever experiment we were doing seems to be revealing that there's something about this, binary system that is not meeting my needs, certainly.
It's so many words that mean nothing. She's saying nothing. She's saying absolutely nothing. She's not committing to anything. It's literally just like, I hypocritically believe in some liberal values domestically, but I also believe in a perma-war genocidal ethno-state that slaughters Arabs abroad. I would also be willing to sacrifice literally all of my freedoms as an American if it meant protecting the ethno-state that I support. That's it. There's nothing. There's nothing here. It's all totally vacuous. There's a reason why these giga-Zionists stick to their own social circles these days.
As a liberal Jew, there's a lot of moral ineptitude. It is egregious to treat one minority population with such disdain, hatred, disrespect, and intensity.
That's why there's nothing specific here. It's all just vague babble.
If any other minority group received this kind of attention, there would be blood in the streets. That is
They're basically baiting anti-Semitism. Well, they like anti-Semitism for the same reason that white supremacists are delighted when they go online and see like black people making jokes about white people, because it validates their worldview. White supremacists believe that races are in competition for supremacy over the world and that relationships between them are fundamentally adversarial, so they like it when they see other people doing race war shit. White supremacists love it when they go online and see black women be like, tell me why this white boy at the cafe just et cetera, et cetera. They love that shit. Likewise, Zionists, Jewish Zionists, love it when they, experience or encounter not like anti-Semitic violence. Obviously, no one wants to get hit. But if they go online and they see like anti-Semitism, they're like, "Yay, my worldview! Now I feel justified in my support for a genocidal ethno-state." It's truly the only way. Ignore New York City and Los Angeles or whatever. The only way Jews could ever be safe in this world is through the existence of a nuclear, perma-war genocidal ethno-state. So I'm validated now.
Most suspicious aspect of what is going on. And this is what I tell my children. We don't have to agree on everything, but there's something conspicuously suspicious about the attention being paid to it.
Nothing's being said here. She's just mad that her children are dunking on her.
Israel.
Yeah. Jack. I'm jacking off. Was she the Big Bang Theory lady? Malin Bialik? American actress in neuroscience, best known for her role in the sitcom Blossom. Played in The Big Bang Theory, Emmy Award. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Bazinga. Yeah. She has donated money to the IDF. Her family lives in Israeli settlements in the West Bank and Jerusalem. Yeah, it's always the same story. And describes herself as a liberal Zionist. Against calls for a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Palestine. Attacked pro-Palestinian activists supporting their arrest. When criticized, she responded by limiting her comments and calling herself a victim of anti-Semitism. Always the same, always the same, always the same. Just Nazi shit, always Nazi shit. Just Nazi parasitism. Really, the extension of Nazi politics into a foreign country, meaning you can masquerade as a liberal in our own. It'd be like Nazis did this in America. There were Nazis in America who knew what Germany was doing at the time, back in the mid-1930s, but they also knew that the average American at the time was largely unaware of the extent how bad it was. So they would lie about it and act like the German Aryans were just engaging in liberatory politics from the clutches of ineffective aristocratic democracy. They masqueraded their real intentions with pseudo progressive arguments in the West. Nazis always do this. They do it where they think they can get away with it. She promoted Under the Rocket's Glow, Shira's Journey to Courage, a children's book that portrays Israelis as the sole owners of Palestine. Nazis outside of Germany all pretended to be anti-war pacifists because that was the best way of aiding Germany's war effort. Yeah. America first, guys. Come on, don't get involved in the war in Europe. Come on. That's not your business. A vegan? Damn, she literally thinks Palestinians are worth less than animals. Here's a quote from her uncle, who is a famous Israeli poet. Quotation from Chaim Naman Bialik. I, too, like Hitler, believe in the power of blood idea. 1934. Hitlerism has perhaps saved German Jewry, which was being assimilated into annihilation. This is in 1934. At the same time, it has made the world so conscious of the Jewish problem they can no longer ignore it. Well, thank you, Chaim Naman Bialik, for your input. Least anti-Semitic Zionist, yup. A non-vaccinating family, back in 2009, reaffirmed that she and her spouse had decided not to vaccinate their children. So she's a neurosurgeon, but also a crank. Many such cases. Nazis are always cranks. In 2015, she said on social media her children had been vaccinated and she wasn't anti-vaccine. Just like a clear liar, too. She used her kids in that story to say she was scared of a t-shirt. Was that the original context?
I didn't know what I was going to find when
God, I remember this.
Open the gate to my house. I don't live in an expensive gated community. I live in a place where people can see me walking. I did not know what my children would experience. They have my name in their name. My older one is a doppelganger. I hate to say it. It's like Mayim Bialik walking around, a little Mayim Bialik. That was terrifying to me. And when I saw what started happening to Jewish leaders, when I still see it, of course, many of us wondered, am I next? I had people approach me wearing Zionism is racism shirts in a parking lot not far from...
God, she's self-obsessed. It's literally like what would happen if you spent 60 years convincing American Nazis that they were actually liberals for wanting an ethno-state. These people are more delusional than any actual Nazi was back in the 1930s because they were at least aware of their place in history. They were aware of the disruptive force they represented. They did not think they were liberals. These people think they're liberals. They're insane. They have legitimately been convinced by Jewish institutions, by mainstream media, by Democrats and Republicans both, by evangelicals, that it is progressive to be in favor of a genocidal ethno-state. They believe that. They actually believe it. And it's an ethnic narcissism that you get because they believe they're superior. Like, obviously, yeah, they're like, Nazis believe that their ethnic group is superior. These people believe their ethnic group is superior. So from their perspective, you have like the infinite persecution complex mixed with like a genuine sense of ethnic narcissism and superiority, which manifests in stuff that from our perspective seems insane, but to them, they cannot think of any other way to live.
Here at my favorite vegan joint with my children.
It's why they fall for their own propaganda.
And the thought occurred to me. What are my kids?
Like the American Nazis in the 1930s knew they were lying when they said that you should be a pacifist and support America first and not get involved in the war in Europe. They knew they were lying. These people don't.
About to witness. Like a big dude coming up to me as I'm getting into my car. What is happening?
What do you
That's
say?
terrible.
So, I mean, like, they sound insane to us. What do you mean? A guy wore a t-shirt, a big guy wore a t-shirt and walked by you? What did he do? Oh, he didn't do anything? Okay. You live in a place where people can see you on the sidewalk? Oh, you mean like every human alive except for like 0.01% of the population living in the hills. Okay.
Terrifying.
Yeah, no. Just genuinely like mentally ill people. Apparently Israel's headed for a constitutional crisis. Yeah, Netanyahu's ignoring the courts or something. Barely a democracy anyway.
Last Sunday, Israel fell into a constitutional crisis when, in an unprecedented move, Benjamin Netanyahu's government announced that it formally rejected and would disobey a ruling by Israel's highest court. The government's
you can do that, can you? Why don't we do it?
declaration related to a dispute over a media regulator, which at face value might not seem dramatic, but it taps into a much wider, long-running feud between Netanyahu and the Israeli judiciary. It sparked outcry in Israel and threatens to reignite simmering tensions in the polarized country. So in this video, we're going to explain this constitutional crisis, including the Israeli government's announcement, Netanyahu's long-running battle with the Israeli judiciary, and what it means for the country. Contrary to Trump's original talk of regime change, the war in Iran has apparently cemented the Iranian regime's grip on power. In the latest issue of our magazine, we explain how this happened. To understand
that's not true. That's pretty bad.
there are a few institutions and organizations that we need to explain first. The first of these is pretty self-explanatory: the Israeli Supreme Court, the country's highest court. Then there's Channel 13, an influential but loss-making commercial broadcaster that's run various critical investigations into Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And finally, there's the second authority for television and radio, Israel's commercial broadcast regulator. Now, Channel 13 has been the subject of competing bids this year. One of these was from telecom magnate Patrick Drahi, a French-Israeli billionaire who founded and owns the Netanyahu-aligned I-24 news network.
It's the same story everywhere, man.
Critics, such as the Union of Journalists in Israel, said that if Drahi took control of Channel 13, it would further erode press freedom and would fit into the Netanyahu government's, quote, master plan to capture the media. However, Drahi's bid for Channel 13 was edged out by a competing bid from a consortium of tech entrepreneurs led by Israeli billionaire Asaf Rappaport, who is an outspoken critic of Netanyahu's government, particularly of his contentious judicial reform. This now takes us back to the second authority for television and radio, which, as the regulator, would need to approve the Channel 13 sale to Rappaport and his co-investors. The Regulatory Council is still mostly made up of appointees of the previous anti-Netanyahu government. The council's term expired at the end of 2025, and Netanyahu's government tried to appoint a new set of members. But some of these appointments faced legal challenges over things like conflicts of interest. So the Supreme Court ordered that until it issued a ruling on said appointments, the previous council would remain in place. But in a subsequent twist, several members of the Second Authority Council resigned, taking its membership count to below...
Whatever happened to that plane that crashed in the Indian Ocean? Apparently it just did that. I'm not joking. Apparently it actually wasn't a missile, like it just came apart. I don't know.
The 2/3 threshold required for quorum under Israeli law. These resignations apparently came after pressure from Communications Minister Shlomo Karhi, with the government reportedly aiming at paralysing the activity of the outgoing council, including the approval of the Channel 13 sale and clearing the way for the new council appointed by the government. At this point, the Supreme Court intervened again, with a ruling in mid-June stating that the Regulatory Council could continue to operate even without meeting quorum, given the exceptional circumstances. This naturally frustrated the Netanyahu government even more, and so on Sunday the government issued an extraordinary statement, which the cabinet unanimously endorsed, openly rejecting the Supreme Court's ruling, claiming that it contradicted the law. Kahi and Justice Minister Yariv Levin accused the court of being drunk with power.
Whatever. It doesn't. It's like Israel's democracy is even more of a sham than our own. It doesn't really matter. Netanyahu has clearly been getting away with doing whatever the hell he wants for a long time. Do I want to watch that? Do I want to watch Dana Fash talk to Brad Lander? Yeah, fuck it. Why not? I don't fucking care. Sure,
Progressive
whatever, man.
challengers have ousted 3 incumbent
Fucking
Democrats
demon.
in primaries just over the past month. 2 of those happened right here in New York City. Brad Lander and Daraliza Avila Chevalier both beat Democratic incumbents and are likely to win their November elections in these deep blue districts. Brad Lander joins me now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I want to ask, we were having these conversations earlier in the show, that there's definitely a leftward shift towards where you are philosophically. It showed up in your primary and others. But in less blue districts, there still are more moderate Democrats being elected, even right here in New York 17, where Republican Mike Lawler is the congressman. Kate Connolly won the same day you did. So do you think that progressives like yourself could actually win in a place that isn't deep, deep blue?
Well, I don't think the line really so much should be thought of as progressives versus moderates. To
They
me,
never fucking ask this question to moderates.
it's fighters versus folders. People are fed up with the status quo. They don't feel is working for them. And that's true for working families in more moderate or frontline districts. Look at someone like Pat Ryan in the Hudson Valley, who's been fighting on utility costs and just showing people I'm out there fighting for working families. And that's what I think can unite us. Whether you use Medicare for all and the Green New Deal, or whether you say, let's go confront the utility company that's bilking us. Like, that's the energy all Democrats need to bring this fall.
One of the big reasons you won your primary here is that you separated yourself from the incumbent Democrat Dan Goldman on Israel. You used the term genocide.
All they ever want to talk about. It's the only thing they ever want to talk about. These freaks, they nothing else matter. The America is being besieged day in, day out with a nonstop cavalcade of genuine apocalyptic signifiers, and it literally never matters. It's not what they want to talk about. It's just they're just completely uninterested. It just has to be Israel over and over and over
Genocide,
again.
he does not. You don't want to have the U.S. funding Israel militarily. You call yourself a liberal Zionist. What is a liberal Zionist?
I believe in the vision of a Jewish and democratic Israel. I care about the place, but I don't think it's possible for it to be democratic while it's occupying the West Bank and Gaza. And I don't think that Israel's conduct in Gaza, which I do consider a genocide, is consistent with Jewish values. So to me, it's like you stand up and you call it as you see it. I don't want to keep sending U.S. military aid to Israel while it's violating international law and Palestinian human rights. But I want it to actually honor international law and Palestinian human rights so it can be the Jewish and democratic.
It's pretty innocuous because he's doing the Mamdani thing, right? Like, he supports Israel as a democratic state. It's just that Israel will never be a democratic state. Like, the version, I mean, I guess, like, you never know how things are going to play out in the long future, but like the version of Israel that exists today is not the version that he supports. So meaningfully, his Zionism is politically ephemeral, you know?
Israel that I grew up believing in.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand. You said that you don't think it's a democratic Israel?
I want it to be a Jewish and democratic Israel. Right now, I don't think it's modeling democracy while it occupies the West Bank and Gaza and half the people under its sovereignty can't vote. But I believe that when occupation ends, then it can be Jewish and democratic, and that's what I am going to be I'm fighting for.
Why are you not just a Zionist? Why do you say liberal Zionist?
Oh
what do
my
you think the
God.
difference is?
I mean, the Declaration of Independence that founded Israel says it would be a place for the ingathering of exiles and full civil and political rights for everyone living there. But Palestinians living in the West Bank facing settler terrorism, or living in refugee camps in Gaza because their schools and hospitals were destroyed, they don't have full political and civil rights. So it is not living up to its founding founding vision. And to me, believing in Jewish and democratic means you got to fight for the human rights of Palestinians at the same time as you fight for the safety of Jews. I guess maybe a shorthand way of saying it is, I don't think Israelis will be safe until Palestinians are free, and they both need that.
Can I just ask you point blank, do you not call yourself a Zionist?
Jesus fucking Christ, dog. It literally... It's like in reference to the previous hysteria, right? Like it's the only thing they want to talk about. We know why she's doing this, but like it comes across as so deranged to everyone else.
It is a term that many people on the hard left have started to use as a slur against Jews.
Well, no.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Oh my God. One of the top pundits on CNN. She's like, no, like she's like softballing the topic. And when he won't take the bait, she's like, yeah, well, what? How about because of like the left because the anti-Semites on the left who hate Jews, you know?
I mean, a liberal Zionist is a Zionist. I just want to make clear I'm not a Zionist like Ben-Gvir or Smotrich who want to eliminate Palestinians. So that's why I say
you can be an American and not believe in what Donald Trump believes in.
To me, that's what I am here. I believe in the vision of a Jewish and democratic Israel, but it's got to change if it's going to be that. Just like, yes, this country.
Can I ask you one other question on this? Because you talked about genocide and you talked about occupying Gaza. And I've also heard you talk about the fact that Israel went too far after October 7th. What would you have wanted Israel to do when a bunch of civilians, about 1,200, maybe 900 civilians also.
What should they have done? What should they have done? What else could they have done besides build an open apartheid system and open air concentration camp and oppress them for decades and kill their protesters and dismantle their political authorities and send money to and promote the more like militant, violent aspects of their political outreach, and then force them into a position where it was very clear nothing other than violence would ever get them freedom, and then, you know, slaughter them en masse and bomb their refugee camps and order them to move around and displace themselves time after time after time and constantly advocate for the total eradication? What could they have possibly done, you know? What could they have done?
Members of the military, kibbutzniks, these were peaceniks,
Absolutely.
like you, who lived on the border with Gaza because they were desperate.
What was Germany supposed to do? They were forced into surrender in World War I by seditious parasitic elements of the Weimar Republic. What were they supposed to do?
Desperate for Palestinian rights, and they were murdered brutally. If you were asked what would you do in response, what would you have done?
I mean, let me first clarify. I think Hamas committed an act of genocidal terrorism on October 7th, and there had to be a response. I mean, priority one should have been return of the hostages, getting them back to their families, and that I think would have been done faster with a political deal. And yes, accountability for the Hamas.
Well, yeah, Hamas offered to return all the hostages day one in exchange for not invading Gaza, and Netanyahu said no. So, like, yeah.
Militants who conducted October 7th, 100%.
They claim
but not
that
killing 5,000 Palestinian kids under 5 and destroying.
When Israel says that they tried hard to avoid this. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah. Just devil's advocate.
But Hamas is so evil that it hid those terrorists and the weapons inside civilian population centers.
War crimes don't justify other war crimes, and destroying every single school and hospital and mosque and community center in Gaza and still occupying 70% of Gaza, in addition to being a violation of international law, is just not working. This isn't actually going to make Israelis safe.
Can I ask you about?
Can I ask you? I have 57 more probing attempts at calling you like a bad Jew. Can we like get to the next attempt on my part?
Today, you endorsed Abdul Al-Sayed, who's running against Haley Stevens in Michigan. They're running to be the Democratic nominee for Senate there. He was asked by my colleague Isaac Dovere if someone could be a Zionist and a progressive. Here's what he said. Every definition of a Jewish state ends up in some articulation of illiberal values, every single one. How did you square what you just said about believing in the notion of a democratic Israel and what he said?
It would have to not be a Jewish state, obviously.
which is there is no such thing.
I mean, we disagree on that. That's how I square it. Now, we agree on a lot of.
For you that
well,
you would say that doesn't
I met Abdul through
endorsement?
our dear mutual friend Adi Barkan, this amazing activist who died of ALS, courageously championing Medicare for all. And I don't think anybody's going to fight as hard to fulfill Adi's vision of healthcare for everybody as Abdul El Sayed and fight to get money out of politics. We disagree on this. Now, I believe that he cares about.
What would be a good way to flip the scrivener without looking an asshole? I think that progressive politicians need to just keep asking, why are you obsessed with Israel? You literally never stop talking about it. I talk about Americans. I fight for American rights, Jewish or non-Jewish, here in America, nonstop. And all you ever want to talk about is Israel, 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 Israel. A litany of international organizations have made it clear that they are committing genocide. This is like this is an asked and answered topic. Your obsession with asking me about it draws suspicion from the American people. Why are you so much more obsessed with Israel than you are America? Why do you not care about America? Like, it's the only really way. It's not bad faith either. It's true. They don't care about America. But like, that's pretty much the only way to go about it.
Fighting for the safety of Jews in Michigan and the human rights and dignity of Israelis. He believes in a binational state with equal rights for all its people. I believe in two states, one majority of Jews with equal rights for its Palestinian minority, one a majority of Palestinians with equal rights for its minority Jews.
You're going to have to get
That's a
Hamas out
difference. Of course we are, and a lot else is going to have to change. We're going to have to get Netanyahu out and Ben-Gvir and Smotrich out and Hamas out. It's a difference that we have, but at the base level, you don't compromise on anyone's humanity. And
you don't think by him not believing in what you believe in the notion of a Jewish state of Israel compromises your humanity?
I don't. I mean, he's been clear that he wants full and equal civil rights and human rights for Israelis and Palestinians and for Jews. We have a difference in how we approach achieving it, but I believe that there's room to work together.
Just one other question. Question of Zionism.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. What a fucking novelty. Really? A question on Zionism. Holy shit. I was expecting it was going to be about literally anything having to do with American politics. Please continue.
I've been listening to some of the podcasts that you're on and watching some of your interviews, and you talk about how you get attacked from the left, of which you are a part, being called a Zionist baby killer, and on the right, or maybe in the Jewish world, calling you a capo, which for people who don't know, those were the Jews who...
This is what they think of you. It's crazy how insular the far-right Jewish Zionist caste is, that they don't think they come across as psychotic, essentially just like airing out these, imagine... It's like the Jewish Zionist equivalent of white supremacists. Like if Tucker Carlson had a Republican on and it was like, how do you respond to the accusations that you're a servile goy? How do you respond to accusations online that you're a white cuck and that you love being cucked by BBC? Like that's literally you're airing these like hyper specific aggressive accusations of racial betrayal in a public forum. Like it's not, this isn't happening like in a synagogue. You're beefing between like Jewish community leaders or whatever. You're having like a local conversation. This is on fucking CNN.
Or helping keep the peace, so to speak, in the Nazi concentration camps. And I ask this because this word Zionist has been turned into a slur. By a lot of people.
Like how racism means anti-white.
Talk about how you have experienced that yourself. Deborah Lipstadt, who is a world-renowned scholar on these issues, I asked her, she said, I do believe that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. However, I also believe that anti-Zionism has morphed into its own kind of demonization and hatred, a prejudice all its own.
So I disagree with that also. I mean, Zionist can be used as a slur, and believe me, if you look in my mentions, I hear it that way. But my son, is named after this guy, Marek Edelman, who was a Bundist, a Jewish democratic socialist in the Warsaw Ghetto, who helped lead the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. Like, that's how seriously I take the legacy of Jews who fought Nazis. He was not a Zionist. He didn't believe in a sovereign Jewish state. Even Albert Einstein, who they asked to be the president of Israel, wanted it to be safe for Jewish life in present Israel and Palestine, but he worried that Jewish sovereignty would have dangerous consequences. So there are anti-Zionists who are members of my synagogue, who I can tell you are absolutely not anti-Semitic, who care about the safety of Jews, who don't believe that the state is making Jews safer.
He really is tone-mugging her so hard. Like, she has nothing to offer the conversation, just an incessant, like, train of attempted gotchas.
That's not my position, but I don't think it's anti-Semitic.
Let's look ahead to 2028. What do you expect and want from a Democratic candidate for president?
First and foremost, a vision of an economy that works for working people, a vision for healthcare and housing and childcare that people can afford. Folks are desperate. They feel the system is rigged against them. Now they see like AI data centers poisoning their water and taking their jobs. A vision that works for working people. A vision for political reform. We're going to have to do something about the Supreme Court, about gerrymandering, about money in politics. And also
hold on a second. We're talking, Brad Lander, you fucking idiot. These are American political topics. We were talking about Israel. We have 3 more hours of Israel talk.
Full energy, I have to tell you, like what's been moving in New York since the Knicks won and we have the World Cup. There's a hopeful energy that Mayor Mamdani's been able to tap into. I wanted something like that for our country as a whole.
Going back to our discussion before, there are, I think, at least a trio, maybe more, of potential candidates in 2028 who are Jewish. You have
like she again, like it's the reason why they lost the propaganda war so badly. Why every American now, every good red-blooded American knows that Israel is a demon country, and that advocacy for Israel is advocacy for the devil. And it's because they buy their own propaganda. Like, there is none of the artifice or like level-headed disingenuousness that you've gotten from seasoned propagandists. They're all like hysterical. They look fucking insane on every level, whether they're pretending to be liberal or not. Like, they're all fucking lunatics. Like, every Zionist in media looks like Huckabee or Randy Fine. Like, they're crazy. No self-awareness, no attempt at like navigating the media landscape to try to find like novel positions to defend their point. It's just all the time maximal 100% this.
Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, J.B. Pritzker, Illinois, Senator Ossoff, Senator from Georgia, and Rahm Emanuel. They're all critical of Prime Minister Netanyahu, but they all believe in Israel's right to exist and have stopped short of calling what's happening in Gaza genocide. Do you think that somebody with those views and that religion could be the nominee for president in the Democratic Party?
I do. I think it's going to require clarity that we need a reset in the U.S. relationship with Israel. I think saying we're not going to continue to provide the 2,000-pound bombs that destroyed Gaza, that we're going to insist on human rights and international law compliance, and we're going to stop aid until that happens, and that Israel has to step up to recognizing that what's necessary is self-determination for Palestinians and Israelis, a horizon of political mutual recognition and peace. Look, and I'm happy to explain to any of them why I think Raphael Lemkin, the Polish Jew and Holocaust survivor who developed the term genocide, the Lemkin Institute considers what's happening there a genocide, like Omer Bartov, an amazing Israeli Holocaust scholar. So is that a litmus test? I don't think it's a litmus test. I think it's something useful for people to look at and grapple and reckon with. We've spent thousands of years as the victims. It's a rough grappling with what it means in some ways to be a perpetrator. I think it's a useful dialogue for American Jews to have, but I don't think it's a litmus test in the presidential race. I do think a reset in the U.S.-Israel relationship.
President Trump is in Turkey right now. He said this morning he will consider selling.
Makes sense that she would be their envoy to Netanyahu.
As a Jewish state, and just
that Iran does not have a nuclear weapons program.
The issue of supporting Israel as a Jewish state and just U.S. support for Israel overall, they have become a central issue in American politics, really a litmus test right now in Democratic.
It's so cool that like while interviewing an American U.S. House candidate, all she wants to talk about is Israel. Constant like, hey, don't you think you're a bad Jew? Questioning. But then you get Netanyahu on the line. And it's like, don't you think it's sad that more Americans are critical of Israel than ever before? It's like, it's a Groyper factory, man. It's a fucking Groyper factory. This interview clip is crazy. Oh, is this the interview in which Netanyahu said he personally doesn't think America should be giving Turkey F-35s?
It said this morning that they are great friends, and not just the two of them, the countries of the United States and Turkey, and that Turkey is perhaps a better ally than other so-called allies. So he is considering giving the country these planes, F-35s.
Well, as I said, it would destroy the power balance in the Middle East because Turkey, I think, has aggressive aspirations. I mean, they openly say that. They want
From you, dog?
to restore the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire not only included Turkey.
Every accusation is a confession. With these fucking Nazis, man. Every fucking time with these people. Every fucking time. When the alt-right was big on YouTube, they would constantly act like the left wanted a race war. They would always do this. The left is the one that wants the race war. The left wants to eradicate white people. The left is the one who's importing people to destroy white politics or whatever. It's always projection.
Included many other countries, included Syria, it included pieces of Jordan, included all of.
Don't you think it's a little odd to say liberals won't stop talking about Israel when it's like 75% of your commentary at this point? Dog, legitimately, I don't talk about Israel except when the story is about Israel. Dana Bash had a U.S. House candidate on. That's the only thing she wants to talk about. Do you think I would want to talk about that 100% of the time with a new House candidate who just unseated an incumbent, Dan Goldman? That's the only thing I want to talk about? I talk about Israel because these people make it relevant. These people have hinged America to a suicide pact with Israel. I bring it up because it's relevant, because there's geopolitics happening. It's like, I don't... The idea that I'm the one involving Israel when it's the only thing these people can talk about. It's like Mamdani. Like, Mamdani never fucking talked about Israel or Palestine on the campaign trail. He was just asked about it all the time. He didn't initiate these conversations, like, at all. When I interview candidates, I don't bring up Israel because it's like, yeah, open and shut. They're a Nazi state. I don't care. Like, yeah, I know. I'm not interested in it. But these weird cloying over and over and over. Just one more question. Just one more question. Oh, you talked about America for a second? Sorry, bucko. Let's go back to the previous topic. Israel, you know? It's crazy. It's insane. These people are insane. They are mentally... It's all they want to talk about.
Present-day Israel included some Gulf countries. So this is not a force for peace and stability. And if you give... this kind of radical regime that admittedly smiles to America when it is necessary, or smiles to the president of the United States when it's necessary. When you give them that power, you're going to see aggression in its wake. I wouldn't do that.
As opposed to you, who have not done anything violent with our weapons. Yeah. Don't give them mentally ill because it might excuse them. I don't excuse mentally ill people for their bad behavior. That's an other people problem. I do think they're mentally ill. I think that mental illness can be politically spurred and inspired. I think that, like, Nazis might not be mentally ill in the sense that they have, like, a brain abnormality, but they are in the sense that their deliberate political irrationalism leads them to a hostile relationship with reality, which is kind of a definition of mental illness, right? Like atypical mental faculties that cause you harm in your day-to-day life. Like that earlier woman, the Zionist liberal, who apparently freaks the fuck out if a guy walks past her in a t-shirt. That's mental illness. That's mental illness. She's like breathlessly, like on a podcast, and this guy, he was this big guy, and he had a shirt saying Zionism and racism. You weren't there. He was right next to me. This is mental illness. What she's doing right there is mental illness. She is mentally ill. This is not a rational relationship with reality. It's not just her cynically lying for clout there. She is genuinely hysterical. It is mental illness.